Wherever, whatever part of the world you are on. Hello, GMAT community. My name is Brendan Kelly. I am one of the GMAT Club moderators, and I have the distinct privilege to be joined here with Elisa, who is a member of the Cornell MBA program, as well as two other members as well that I will let her introduce. And we're here joined at this MBA Spotlight to go over Cornell's MBA program. So without further ado, I'm going to hand off the mic to Lisa, and I will come back on for our Q&A session.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Brendan, for the introduction. My name is Lisa Killingsworth. I'm the Director of Operations on the admission team. I've been part of the team for over 2 years now, and really excited to be part of such a wonderful team and wonderful community. We're excited to shed a little bit of light on that today. As you may see, I'm joined by 2 current students. I have Ryan and Joelle. In a little bit, they're going to do some introductions. So when we get there, you're going to hear a little bit more about them. We have a pretty quick presentation for you. We want to really highlight really some of the things that we find to be what sets Cornell apart, maybe from some other programs, and some program highlights. And then, of course, we want to have plenty of time to take questions from you all and answer everything that you guys might be wondering about. So we want to ensure we're leaving a little bit more time for questions than just talking at you. So I'm just going to dive right in here, and feel free to pop your questions in the chat. And then we're also going to take your questions live at the end as well. All right, so a little bit of a program overview here. Cornell offers a couple different programs. We are kind of most well known for our flagship 2-year residential MBA program. Key features of this program is you have plenty of time to really explore your interests, try different things out, do some leadership and travel, join student clubs. Internship being a main component of this program, it's really great to have that internship experience, especially for career switchers. We also offer a 1-year accelerated MBA program. So it's a really great option for students who already have some sort of advanced certification, advanced degree. It allows a student to complete the MBA within 12 months at an accelerated pace. The one key feature missing from that program really is that internship component. So there are opportunities for career switchers within the program, and also opportunities to grow in your current field. Under the Johnson umbrella, we also offer a variety of other programs that could be a great fit depending on your interests and kind of stage of your career. Our Johnson Cornell Tech MBA program is a 1-year program based out of our Cornell Tech campus in Roosevelt Island in New York City. It's a wonderful option for students who have a solid footing in tech and are looking to kind of expand that. And then we have a series of kind of executive level MBA programs that are great for folks who have a bit more work experience. We do a MBA MS in Healthcare Leadership program based out of New York, and also our Cornell Tsinghua program. One of the key features that I think really makes Johnson stand out, and I'm sure that Joelle and Ryan would echo this a little bit as well, is our immersion learning program. So some of the key features of the way that our academic structure exists is that you begin your program in an accelerated core. You're taking some of those foundational courses in accounting and finance at a rather accelerated pace in a core team within your first couple months at Johnson. This allows you to move through that foundational coursework rather quickly instead of spending a whole year doing that and then moving into what we call immersion learning in your second semester, your spring semester at Johnson. Immersion learning allows you to select from a couple of different areas of interest and really dive deep into Not only hands-on learning and the coursework, but practical experiences. You're working with real-world companies and clients, developing deep connections, building your critical thinking and problem solving. It really is a wonderful feature of Johnson and sets our students up for success in their summer internship. We often have heard that once a student enters their internship, they've already had this full semester of practical learning, hands-on experience, and enter their internships where some of their peers might have spent the whole first year kind of learning those foundational courses. So kind of puts you a little ahead of the game when you show up for that first day at your internship. This is a listing of our current immersion areas. You can see there's quite a few to pick from. Strategic operations was actually the first immersion and only immersion that we ever offered way back when. And our immersion learning program has really grown from there. So students in our one-year program and our two-year program can pick an immersion area. A customized immersion is also possible for students who have some other interest or some interest that might be a little bit outside of Johnson. For example, we have students pursue this track when they're interested in real estate or hospitality, things like that. Each of our immersions, you're guided by faculty, and you're really working to build your practical skills. Some other really wonderful features of our program is, of course, our New York City Cornell Tech offering. So our one-year and two-year MBA students based in Ithaca are also able to take advantage of what we offer in New York City. So it's a really huge advantage to our students who take the time to go and do that. You would do it in your fourth and final semester if you're in the two-year program, or in your spring semester if you decide to pursue the one-year AMBA program. So we have 3 different ways that you can get involved in New York City. First being New York City electives. You can take weekend classes. Courses are offered on Fridays and Saturdays. A variety of different topics to choose from. We've just highlighted a couple here. Cryptocurrencies is one that students are often really interested in. And then kind of the other option is to do 7-week intensives, and we offer 2 options currently for students. You can do an intensive in fintech or an intensive in digital marketing. Students who pursue these options will find a variety of housing situations in New York City, whether it be for the weekend or for intensive classes. We also are very fortunate to have a campus-to-campus bus that goes directly from Sage Hall, where the bulk of your MBA classes might be while at Cornell, to a couple different locations in New York City. So it's a quick 4-hour bus ride. It's pretty nice. I've taken it a few times, and really is a great way for students to get to and from New York City easily. All right, so at this point, I want to introduce our current students that we have joining us today. So Joyelle, if you want to go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction, maybe why you chose Johnson and some of the key takeaways so far from your experience.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Joyelle Fleming and I'm a second year here at Johnson. For undergrad, I went to Emory and I was an anthropology and human health major, so liberal arts background. And between undergrad and now, I worked within healthcare at 2 different health insurance firms in a variety of functions, but came to business school to work on my leadership, entrepreneurship, and finance skills. This past summer, I interned at Genentech as a finance intern, and TBD on where I'm going after school, but I did the corporate finance immersion and happy to answer questions about that. And at Johnson, I'm involved in a lot of different clubs, but I have leadership positions on student council within Forte, and then I'm also a campus ambassador. And I picked Johnson because of the people. I had actually attended a different MBA program's admitted student weekend the weekend before I went to DJ, which is Destination Johnson, and had a completely different experience. The administration staff, they remembered my name. They were so welcoming, and I already felt part of a family as an admitted student who hadn't even put my deposit down. And I felt a lot of that same love throughout my, I guess, year and a half-ish almost now. So it was definitely the people in the community that helped me pick Johnson.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joyelle. I think I haven't touched on it yet, but certainly I think one of the best features about being part of such a small, close-knit program is certainly the deep connections that you make with your classmates, your peers, staff, and faculty. At Johnson, you've got that unique opportunity to really get to know other people, develop those long-lasting bonds. And from my perspective, I've seen it also long beyond your kind of student experience, and as you grow into an alum and continue to interact with Johnson, students that are 5, 10, 15 years out are still really closely connected to their classmates that they forge those strong relationships with. All right. And Ryan, if you want to do the same, give a quick introduction, a little bit about why you chose Johnson, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to this session today. So my name is Ryan Doyoung Kim. I'm a second year of two-year MBA program. And actually, I'm an international student from South Korea. So I did my undergrad in South Korea in major business administration there. And I just wanted to continue this fun study. So that's why I chose MBA. And prior to MBA, I worked for an automotive industry. So I worked for BMW Group for 7 years. And I did my summer internship at McKinsey, Seoul office. And then I'm thinking of going back to that company after the graduation. I really like my experiences there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to pursue the strategy consulting after the graduation, and also joined a lot of Johnson clubs. I took a couple of leadership roles in Korean Business Association, as well as Automotive Club, and yeah, I belong to a lot of different clubs. It has been a lot of fun, and the reason why I chose Johnson is actually before joining MBA, I heard a lot about inclusive culture, and actually I could experience some of them after reaching out to a couple of Johnson students. Actually, I received a lot of cares, even though I was not the students at a time. So they gave me a lot of advices of how I could manage the MBA application as well as the life after getting accepted. So I think I pretty enjoyed that experiences even before joining MBA, and then I found that was really true even after joining the Johnson School. So that was the main reason why I chose Johnson School.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. I feel like our current students are certainly one of the best ways for you as a prospective student to really explore if this is a good fit for you, a good culture fit for you, if you see the things that you're interested in and the experiences that you want to have reflected in our current student body. So no matter what stage you're at, I definitely encourage you to reach out to our students, to make connections, and ask some of your hard questions. Another wonderful feature about Johnson that really sets us apart is the leadership development that you will go through as a student at Johnson. There are a variety of experiences that you can have over the course of your program. The first being what we call Joe. It starts right away as you join the program in August for our 2-year program. You are having an outdoor leadership experience with your classmates. And really beginning to start that leadership experience. Leading teams practicum and your core team, again, is another wonderful component of your leadership development process at Johnson. This is your small group that you're navigating your kind of initial coursework with. You're taking turns leading teams, giving feedback, and really practicing those skills. It's an opportunity to take the lead. It's an opportunity to learn to step back a little bit, and also an opportunity to grow. It's a safe place to kind of explore your own style and what leadership means for you. And I think one of the best parts about being part of an MBA program is you get to practice this You get to fail, you get to succeed, and it really, is a great place to do that. We don't always get to do that in our professional environments. We also have leadership expeditions. We have some that go to the Adirondack Mountains in the New York region, which is wonderful. You are having an outdoor experience, navigating kind of the terrain and different leadership scenarios with your classmates. We also do one to Patagonia. So if you're a little bit more adventurous, we will be happy to drop you off in Patagonia for a few days and let you do that with your classmates. We also do a Quantico experience where you get to really learn how the military trains within leadership. Leadership skills program is another feature where you're doing different seminars and half day, full day types of work to further develop that. Johnson Board Fellows is a wonderful opportunity we have for students to be part of a nonprofit board based in Ithaca, and you're really getting to gain perspective into what that experience is like and what it's like to serve on a board. Johnson Leadership Fellows are also selected to kind of lead the process through the core team environment with our first year Johnson students. So it's a really wonderful way to kind of pay it forward, give back to the first years going through their experience for the first time. And Park Fellows. It is a leadership program that we offer that really provides a strong foundation for leadership skills during and after your program. One of the last slides is a little bit about Ithaca. So many of you are probably like, where's Ithaca? What is this place? This sounds small. When college is in session, so we've got Cornell University and also Ithaca College is nestled in Ithaca as well. The downtown population is about 100,000 when school's in session and tapers off a little bit when school's not. It's a really wonderful place to live. The opportunities to get out and do lake activities, to go hiking, to be in nature, are gorgeous, and waterfalls. It's absolutely stunning. So lots of outdoor activities to do. And I always say, even if you're not an outdoorsy person, you will be when you come to Ithaca, because you'll find something that maybe you didn't try before that you're newly passionate about. We're nestled in the Finger Lakes region. So if you're not familiar, we have a huge food and wine and beer culture. There is a lot of good food to be had. Personally, I moved from a large city to Ithaca and was a little worried about what this was going to look like. And I was pleasantly surprised to learn that Ithaca actually has more restaurants per capita than anywhere else in the United States. So we love to dine. We love our food experiences. And certainly the Finger Lakes wine can rival Napa, for those of you who are not aware. It's a really safe community. It's welcoming. People are really friendly. You're going to get people talking to you at a lot of random places. Again, I moved from a larger city. I'm like, why is everybody talking to me? It's really friendly, and there's a lot of different housing options, which makes kind of the cost of living really reasonable compared to some other places. So that is all that I have for our presentation. Thank you for kind of listening to that and to our quick experiences and passion for Ithaca and for our community. And at this point, we would love to answer some of your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elisa. And thank you, Ryan and Joelle, for your introductions. And I would definitely love to gear these questions to both you, Lisa, on the admission side, but then also would love Joelle and Ryan to add in with their experiences as well. So I think starting off, maybe on some of the admission side, I know a lot of people right now are working on those applications, trying to go through a period of self-reflection and how they may stack up against the odds. So one of the questions that came up on the forums is regarding the GMAT scores. So I know it's been a bit different moving forward, as we do have the online GMAT, and of course that does not include the writing section. And I know a lot of people have just been nervous that maybe that's looked at differently than I guess the in-person GMAT. So I'd love to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, we're not going to look at it any differently. So your GMAT score is your GMAT score, no matter the method that you take it. As we're all pretty aware, there have been some challenging times over the past few months, and this really allowed students to continue moving forward with their goals, with their plans to pursue business school. So we are so fortunate that we were able to have this method of test and realize that a lot of places around not only the United States, but around the world, this has literally been something that has made this process a little easier. So we're not going to look at it any differently.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And then I'd love to aim this question at Joelle and Ryan, specifically with I guess how everything has changed in the past 6 or 7 months. How has that maybe altered your expectations, or maybe how has this, what we're going through now, maybe changed what you thought you were getting into when signing up for an MBA? And what has Cornell done that really either impresses you or you just really enjoy that they're doing to kind of help make the experience better?
Yeah, I can start with that, and I'll touch on 2 things. The first is I came to school for an in-person experience and to be in the classroom, and that has changed a little bit right now, but I've really appreciated the fact that with our hybrid model, you have options to take classes in Sage or Berzano. So those are our 2 main buildings for the business school. And I have some of my professors still teaching in person. So even though one class might be on Zoom, my next one might be in person, and I've liked that mix. And then also, since I highlighted the community in my intro, the fact that like my classmates are still trying to have that similar vibe and connection and continue meeting new people. And it's just like we're all struggling to find ways to get away from Zoom. So I know I've been to Argos a lot, which is a local bar, or one-on-one hikes, and have definitely taken advantage of like the weather right now and the scenery and just walking with people or doing things outdoors, since that's a little bit more safe now.
Fantastic. And Ryan, has that been similar to your experience as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that actually I feel like the Cornell was already well prepared before the challenge we have. So we already had a lot of like hybrid modal classes, and there were a lot of online communications. So I found it like all the classes really smoothly to move to the online format, even after like having challenges. And like Joel said, all the events we had before, I think it's I'd say like perfectly like transferred to the online format. So even like we had a lot of parties on site, and even we still enjoy those parties in online. And the other thing I want to highlight is that I was kind of impressed at how Cornell tries to make a safe environment. So there are like a lot of tests ongoing to take care of each student's health. So that was one of the great things. I've never seen those kind of care from like other MBA schools. So that was a really great experience for me.
That's a fantastic point. Thank you for bringing that up, Ryan. I'd like to ask another question as well, maybe starting with Joelle and Ryan, and then Lisa, I'd love to hear your opinion as well. But how has I guess, once again, focusing on the current times, how has recruiting changed? I know, Ryan, for you specifically, you said you might take your return offer with McKinsey. So you may not be in that recruiting cycle right now, but what have you seen from other Cornell students, or you yourself if you're still recruiting? And then Lisa, I'd love to know just from your perspective as well, how that's developed over time.
Yeah, everything's online. So I went to National Black a couple weeks ago. That was in an online format. The interviews I've had now, it's on Zoom. I've done cases online. So it's I would say it's the same level as if you were in person, but you might benefit from not having to travel to different places. Like, so National Black was supposed to be in DC. I would have had to figure out, okay, how am I getting from Ithaca to DC? And now it's like, no, I can take it from here. So I feel like it hasn't, from like the volume perspective and how busy it is, I don't think it's really changed that much being virtual.
Okay. That's great to hear. And then Ryan, specifically, who you may be retaking that return offer from McKinsey, curious to see what your thoughts are. I mean, I know a lot of people were nervous that those return offers may get taken away in the future, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look like it's moving that way. So I'd love to hear your feedback there.
Sure. So yeah, like Joel said, everything is done virtually in these days. Actually, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of concern about like getting a job in MBA, but definitely we are seeing like less positions in certain industry. But at the same time, I see like other industries actually are hiring like more people. So on the other side, so I'd say in terms of the number of like job positions, I don't see a huge decrease at the moment. And actually, I feel like I get supported by the school a lot, even for these virtual settings. So I think I get the same level of like support from the schools, even in this virtual world. And in terms of return offer, I don't see any like decreasing number of return offers. Some companies want to hire more people, even in this challenge. So I just want to say you don't really need to much worry about these things, especially you're coming to Johnson.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Thank you for that, Ryan. And then Lisa, just following up with you as well. I know the concern was, oh no, companies won't get to travel to us, and then that may cause an issue. But we've also seen that potentially more companies can now come because of that virtual setting to where they wouldn't have paid for travel before, but now they can be present. Is that what you've seen as well?
Yeah, so fortunately, this morning I actually sat in on kind of an overview of what's happened over the past couple of months with our director of our career management center, David Capaldi. So, oh boy, was that good timing. He gave us some amazing statistics that have taken place over the past couple months. Our internship numbers were the same over this past summer for our students transitioning from their first to second year. Outside of that, our graduating class of 2020, who's graduating in the midst of some challenges, our percentage of those employed following that graduation date right now is 93%, and last year it was 94%. So a little bit of a percentage drop, but sometimes students are still kind of figuring it out kind of post MBA. Outside of that, we actually saw an increase in initial salary up by 6%, which was another really kind of amazing feature that pleasantly surprised me. And then outside of that, just discussing this kind of current virtual recruitment environment with him. He highlighted, for example, companies like McKinsey, who maybe sent out some recruitment reps to a couple different schools, are now doing those virtually and hosting a few more schools. So they're actually reaching a wider audience than maybe they might if they were sending somebody out in person, which is really wonderful for our students, because I think, we're going to have even more recruiters kind of connected to our community maybe than we had previously. So if there's any sort of silver lining in this, it's that I think the virtual recruitment experience has really expanded some of these possibilities.
Yeah, and that's great to see. It looks like there are a lot of nerves that are potentially being shaken off as we truly understand the way the market's going. And Joelle, I do want to respect your time. I know you have to bump off here in a minute. And so the next question is really geared at how did you as an applicant really build your personal story to showcase who you were? I know self-reflection is something that doesn't come natural to people. So what was one of the steps that you could, or an advice that you could give an applicant to really start that self-reflection process?
Yeah, I would say for me, I just did a lot of research initially about like what are some general MBA functions that people enter into after, and thinking about like, where do I see myself? What things am I interested in? What are my skill sets like? So I came from a healthcare background and I did a bit of informatics, and I was like, okay, like I like crunching numbers. I like working in Excel. I like the data part, but I know I want to be more people oriented. And I was like, okay, like I think finance, that's something that you have, because you can be a finance business partner and you at least have meetings with other people and you're talking and you're trying to persuade them. And I knew I wanted to be in healthcare, because when I was doing interviews for, say like an oil and gas firm, I was kind of like, I'm not really excited about like energy, but I could get excited about interviewing for a pharmaceutical firm, for a consulting firm that focused on healthcare. So just kind of noticing those things about yourself, about where you find your interest. And I also found it really helpful when I was writing my essays, like I would give them to my friends and family and just be like, does this sound like me? Does it sound like I'm trying too hard, or is this off base, or am I missing a story that you think would be better than what I've written? So relying on my friends and family during my application process was crucial, just because they knew how much stress I was going through and how busy I was. And they were also just like, yeah, like I'll read your essay just for like content and not for grammatical errors. And I felt those two things of like reflection of finding out, or just like kind of noting what things you're interested in as you're going through the process and researching schools. And then also having friends, family, whoever that knows you really well reviewing was really helpful.
That's fantastic advice, because I know a lot of people tend to over edit their essays and over revise them, and then all of a sudden it doesn't sound like them anymore. So thank you for that feedback, and I will let you run. I know you do have a meeting. So thank you, Bill.
Thanks, guys.
And then my next question is actually, it's around the same question, Ryan, but it's actually geared more towards your specific work history. There was a question asked in the chat with your intro of 7 years work experience. I believe it was at BMW. Before coming to your MBA, what are some suggestions or maybe thoughts about applicants who are on the upper echelon of what you would call the age limit of a 2-year MBA? So what made you decide, and do you have any tips for people coming up on a larger work experience?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I think 7 years of work experience are kind of longer than like other like just typical like applicants. So I just started thinking about my future career when I got to like 6 year and like 7 years. So I definitely just was seeking for a chance to switch my career there. So I felt like the Johnson is really right place, because I actually it's not only about the like switching the careers, but also I just wanted to learn from like each other's and then just wanted to be in the like inclusive culture, because MBA is not only about getting a job, but you're learning from like your classmates and like learning about like different culture backgrounds. So that's why I looked for a specific chance to get accepted by Johnson. So yeah, it was mainly for like career switching, but I think I considered like other factors about like what I wanted to learn from like MBA. So I think that was the major reason why I chose Johnson School. So I just wanted you to think about it could be about like switching careers, and it could be other things. It can be about job things, but just think about other like values you want to pursue during the MBA program.
That's some fantastic advice there, Ryan, as well. And then I'd like to kind of turn to Lisa as well and ask, when maybe looking at just non-traditional candidates in general, or even we could take it another step and say maybe overrepresented candidates, what are some ways that these applicants should be self-reflecting in order to stand out from the norm and not just be another tick in the admissions pool? How should they kind of gear their application to make them memorable? There we go.
Absolutely. I think, first of all, I think our specific application for Johnson, when you are starting to fill out the application, you'll see that we're pretty specific. We provide some opportunities for you to really showcase who you are. And I think one of the ways that you can really kind of stand out, and it may sound very simple, but is to be really genuine and true to yourself in your application. You don't want to be filling out your essays and writing things that are not reflective of really who you are or what your goals are. We've got 2 different essay sections, our back of the resume essay, where we're specifically asking you, tell us who you are outside of work. We love that essay. We love when students get creative, but we also love when you can write a really strong essay within that application piece as well. And then our impact essay. Impact is a huge aspect of what we're looking for in students at Johnson. Our community is small. Between 280 and 290 students enroll in our 2-year program each year, and around 55 to 70 in our 1-year program every year. So you have a lot of opportunity to stand out and to make an impact, and that is definitely something we're looking for. So doing your research in your application process, connecting to current students, and kind of showcasing what you want to get involved in at Johnson, and then being able to articulate how that translates to your life after Johnson, I think is something that is really valuable. My only other thing outside of that is goal articulation for us is also really important. In your brief goals essay, we're looking for you to really highlight what it is that you want to do kind of in the short term and in the long term. And the better prepared you are to answer those goal specific questions, it can really, really make you stand out, especially in an interview process. You're going to be asked about your goals, being able to indicate some target companies or roles, and then being able to explain why, also what's your backup plan, things like that.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Lisa. And I want to reiterate on a point you just mentioned, and I know this is actually probably even listed on the application itself, but to reiterate, is there any preference on the essay where you can either submit a video, a PowerPoint, maybe if someone doesn't feel like they're a video-esque person, is there any issue with writing just an essay that they feel reflects better than maybe just a video?
We have no preference for how you choose to address that question. If you are somebody who's super creative, like, go ahead and do it. But if you've not really dabbled in making videos, this is probably not the best time to try that out for the first time. I will say, when I got hired at Cornell, I actually answered the back of the resume as part of my hiring process. And I included a bunch of office memes in my presentation to discuss kind of why I was a good fit for this job. So you need to think about what speaks to you, what speaks to your personality, and then kind of circling back to that, being genuine, be who you are, and choose a content, whether that be an essay, a video, a PDF, a video, photo essay that speaks to your strengths.
And that's a great point, Lisa, as well. And I think it's something that everyone here should take away from this is that, yes, getting your MBA is a serious affair. I mean, it's a next step in becoming a business professional. However, if you don't add your personality into these applications, you're just going to be another candidate. So that's a fantastic point. Is don't be afraid. I love that you said that you used office memes in your presentation. I'm not going to say that anybody should put memes in their application, but it is good to show that personality. And then Ryan, I do have another question for you, specifically being an international student. What were your thoughts initially thinking about Ithaca? I know Ithaca is, of course, one of the central discussions of Cornell. What were you expecting versus now that you're here, what have you experienced? And what could you tell other international students who are wanting to come over?
Yeah, I definitely know sometimes the Ithaca is less prioritized because of the location. So actually, I didn't know about the Ithaca before. So when I heard of like the Ithaca, so where is Ithaca? So is there anything I can do there? But actually, I'm enjoying pretty many things here. I think Lisa already listed out great things you can do in Ithaca. And then actually, I'm pretty enjoying a really reasonable cost here. So, you know, you can do more things with the lower price. So if you like, I'm enjoying playing golf in these days, but with the same price, I could just play just once in other cities, but you can do more things. So actually, with the same cost, you can do more things. And another thing I want to highlight is actually you're living with your classmates in really small town. So I think there are much more chances to get closer to your classmates than any other cities. I think that's the one of valuable things you can do in Ithaca. So I really love these locations at the moment.
That's great to hear, and especially coming from a larger city, it's nice to see that the transition wasn't too hard to kind of escape that. And then I think, like Lisa mentioned in her presentation, there's always a train ride over to New York City if you need that fix. But an additional question I want to ask specifically regarding, let's call it the new virtual era we're living in, is how that's made an impact on some of the student organizations, maybe even some of the less professional organizations. Like I know the wine, beer, and food scene is very, very strong in Ithaca, but how has the current situation affected those clubs? Are they doing online events? I guess, what have you seen? And then specifically to Ryan after that, maybe is how have your clubs been affected? Because I saw you had quite the list. So maybe start with Lisa and then Ryan can follow up.
Yeah, it's one of those situations that is ever evolving. We, over the course of the past couple of months here since our fall semester began, have shifted from no gatherings to virtual gatherings to no gatherings to small group gatherings. So I think we're at a place right now where you're allowed to gather in groups with 10 or less people. We're certainly hoping with the practices that we've put in place to be able to improve that and get back to the typical club social professional experience. A lot of these events are taking place virtually. A lot of small group connections. Maybe you meet up with, not your whole club or organization, but maybe a small group from there. And essentially, that's what we're navigating through right now. And we're really hopeful that the full social professional experience is going to continue to expand over the coming months.
Fantastic, thank you, Lisa. And then Ryan, how has your experience been? I think I saw that you were the president of your organization as well, or one of your many organizations. So how has that kind of transitioned into the virtual era?
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently the president of Korean Business Association, and actually I've been surprised by the creativity we're making to host the events. So for example, we just had a virtual event to welcome first year students last month, and then we did a lot of online games. Actually, we didn't know about those games before, and then I think we had a lot of fun, even the better than any offline events. Actually, you don't have physical distance at the moment, so actually, I think we're making more interactions than before. So I think you're gonna see the different side of the fun while having the online event. So it's pretty much well replaced. Yeah.
Fantastic, and that's good to hear. And it's also for anyone who's been tuning into the whole GMAT Spotlight series, that's been a common theme, is that we are finding ways to be more creative and kind of bridge that gap. So that's great to know. And maybe circling back real quick just on an overall Cornell question that someone who is just joining may not have gotten to hear. Lisa, could you kind of walk us through the difference between a STEM designated MBA and a Cornell Tech MBA?
Sure, absolutely. So Johnson's 1- and 2-year residential MBA programs in Ithaca are both STEM designated, as is Cornell Tech. So the main benefit of having this STEM designation, of course, is to make you a little bit more marketable in your job search and in recruitment. Having that designation indicates to prospective employers that you've taken a pretty heavy quantitative course load to really develop these areas. It's great, especially for students who maybe didn't pursue a STEM-related undergraduate program or even a business-related undergraduate program. And Brendan, going back to what you said earlier about the non-traditional student, hi, non-traditional students, this is a great way to kind of make that resume pop and add something a little bit different. Outside of that, there's a huge, huge, huge benefit to our international community. If you're somebody who wants to gain some experience in the US and stick around for a little while, you've got 3 years to live and work in the US following your MBA program. It's an option, right? So you get to choose whether you want to pursue this. Even if you decide not to pursue the STEM designated option in any of our programs, you still have that option to live and work in the US for up to a year following the program. So while Cornell Tech, our 2-year, 1-year, all STEM designated, when you're thinking about the right program fit, you want to think about your goals and which program aligns best with those goals.
Fantastic. That was a great summary. So I hope that answers anyone's questions that was still kind of debating between the two. And we do have 5 minutes left. And I've seen Vanessa and others answering every question that pops up in the chat. So thank you both there. But I would like to give Lisa and Ryan maybe just one more tidbit of information, if you will. I'll start with Ryan and ask Ryan maybe just if there's something that you could provide that candidates may not see on Cornell's website or other MBA programs that they're applying to that now that you've gone through this application cycle. Is there any advice that you would give candidates as they're going through kind of this either self-reflection or speaking with their recommenders? What's something that may not just be talked about enough that you might be able to shed some light on?
Yeah, there could be many different advices, but just one thing I'd like to share is actually when I started my Johnson application, I think I did a lot of researches, and firstly I tried to just fit my personality to Johnson's values, but just think about why should it be Johnson for you? I think I wanted to spend just more time to think about why it has to be Johnson for you, and then just try to connect the ideas with the Johnson values, Johnson program. There are a bunch of good programs and the values Johnson can provide to you. So to maximize the value you can acquire from the Johnson. So I think after joining MBA, I figured out there are so many different reasons why my classmates got accepted. So just think about your own personal value and just how Johnson can help you to navigate your the future career after graduation.
Thank you, Ryan. And I'm going to put you on the spot as well and follow up on that and ask, why was Johnson right for you after you were admitted in other programs? If you were admitted there as well, why did you end up focusing on Cornell and Johnson specifically?
Yeah, it's again about the inclusive culture. It's not only about the small size of class. Actually, that's the things I'd say everyone in Johnson just keeps talking about it. So you're going to receive a lot of support, and you're going to have a lot of interactions with like first year and second year students. It's not about only the career, but you'll be the one who will make a lot of like personal interactions. So it's, the MBA is not only about the recruiting. So I think the Johnson is a school where you can maximize the MBA experiences. I wanted to say that.
Thank you so much. No, that's definitely helpful. And then Lisa, just on a closing remarks, is there anything that we missed in the process or anything additional that you want to add as people are either applying for round 2 or maybe even they're a couple years before their MBA program? I guess what else can we know about Johnson now and maybe some additional advice that you have?
Yeah, I think whether you're a couple years out and you're just beginning to explore your MBA path, whether you're making an application this year or deciding, ooh, this year, next year, what's best for me, I think remaining kind of intentional through all of this is my best advice within our application process, but also any application process. Doing your research, attending events like this, attending events that are school specific. So if you're someone listening in on this and you're wondering how to get a little bit more information from Johnson, we have so many different opportunities for you to meet us, meet our current students, meet our alumni, meet our professors. You can sit in on a class virtually. We have coffees and combos with current students. And a variety of other kind of opportunities coming up. So certainly, no matter where you are in your journey, taking advantage of those opportunities is going to be really beneficial. You're going to learn something new. You're going to learn something more about your interests. You're going to develop a connection that, again, being intentional is going to kind of carry you through your application process and beyond. The peers that you're applying with are going to be your peers now while you're in an MBA program and beyond. So developing relationships with the people going through a similar process to you is also equally as important. And I'd love to echo what Brian said. It's not just about that end goal of recruitment and a job. The experience as a whole is really important. I think we often can say, okay, I just got to get my application in and that's it. Then then I'm smooth sailing. Part of this is you're then going to have offers of admission to decide between, and you're going to be relying on those peer connections and relying on the connections that you made with schools to really help you further assess that decision. And that assessment continues in your first year of your MBA, your second year of your MBA, your first role outside of the MBA, and well beyond that.
Wow, that was fantastic. No, I think that's great for both people who are applying now and, like you said, in the future as well. So thank you so much. And we are up on time now, so I want to thank everybody who tuned in today, as well as Jade and Vanessa, who I see answering tons of questions online. So thank you guys so much for that. And thank you for everyone who tuned in and asking your great questions. I know that helps everybody throughout this process. And then once again, Lisa, Ryan, thank you so much. And then Joelle, I know had to leave, but her feedback was fantastic as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will hopefully see everyone soon. Thank you.